la victoire à bannière de Luchon, sous le soleil et les bravos du public.
I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. Look at me, hands in the air like it's good to be alive. And I'm a famous rapper even when the paths are all crooked. I can show you how to do-si-do, I can show you how to scratch a record. I can take apart the remote control, and I can almost put it back together. I can tie a knot in a cherry stem, I can tell you about Leif Erikson. I know all the words to De Colore.
For Team Sky, this is a fourth Tour de France victory in 5 years, and a phenomenal third win for Chris Froome. No British rider had ever successfully defended this title until now. But even France's most iconic event was shocked to its core when a terrorist struck in Nice on Bastille Day, killing more than 80 people. Froome lives not far from there and regularly trains in the area.
It's horrific. I mean, those scenes that were coming out from the Promenade des Anglais last week just were, I think it just stopped all of us dead in our tracks. Even here on the race, obviously, even though we feel as if we're in our little bubble, when that happened, it puts everything into perspective. I mean, it feels pretty full on and intense here, but when you see something like that, it reminds you that there's a lot more to life. And yeah, I mean, shocking. I mean, obviously, the team has got a base down in the south of France there, and we train a lot on those roads, and it's yeah, absolutely just it was quite close to home seeing that.
In the run-up to the Tour, did you have any concerns about security, because you guys are so exposed out there every day?
It's not something we really thought about coming into the race. I mean, obviously we're so focused on the performance side of things that it's not really something that crossed our minds.
For a few hours on Bastille Day, the headlines had been all about Froome running up Mont Ventoux after a crash left his bike unrideable.
Hopefully not something I'll ever have to do again. That was absolute chaos up there. Just so difficult to really know what was going on at the time. It was 1 second we had just our heads down, giving it absolutely everything going up that mountain. The next second, the three of us were all just on the ground looking at each other, not knowing what had happened. It just yeah, I mean, obviously the crowd had bottlenecked and stopped the motorbikes that were in front of us. They had to slam on brakes in front of us, and had a motorbike plow into the back of me and break my bike completely, so I couldn't carry on. And the support cars were a while back behind the other riders who had been dropped, so it just seemed logic to me, just keep going, keep. We were only 1 kilometer from the finish, and I thought, well, I've just got to get away from this crowd so at least the car can get through and get back to me, but I'm going that way.
Team boss Sir Dave Brailsford even mimicked the running style later on. And fans had been getting too close even before then. He was fined for punching one.
That guy in particular had a quite a large flag that was starting to go into my front wheel, and I saw red and lashed out to try and knock him out of the way before the flag wrapped itself into my front wheel. But yeah, I mean, the fans are what make this race so special, and it's finding that balance, because obviously it's one of the special things about the sport is that people can get just that close to you, but when they get too close, that they actually start affecting the result of the race or affecting the riders, then obviously that line needs to be drawn there.
Team Sky have worked hard to change perceptions of them in France, where they've been seen as a cold, ruthless British winning machine who some commentators last year openly accused of doping to succeed. But this year's atmosphere has been markedly different. So has he put those unfounded allegations to bed?
I think so, and I definitely feel that as if there has been a huge shift this year in that sense. At the end of last season, I basically offered myself up for independent testing and went and did a whole load of physiological testing, just released that data into the public, And I feel as if that's obviously helped things quite a lot.
Froome was born in Nairobi, and his journey to the very top of the cycling world began here in the Ngong Hills, 20 kilometres outside the Kenyan capital. Kenya is famous for producing coffee and tea, but surely not cyclists. His late mother Jane sought out local rider David Kinja to help her son, and the pair became inseparable training partners.
He was a young, energetic boy, and he had his little BMX bicycle he wanted to ride around, and the mother wanted to find if there's somebody who can teach the young Chris how to take care of himself on the road. It was strange that a white kid in the village where there was not many people back then would be comfortable and hanging around there, and he didn't care much what people thought or looked at. He learned Swahili quite quickly, but he was always talking the language of the bicycle rather than anything else.
Froome still sends his old training kit and the odd yellow jersey back to Kinja.
Yeah, it's a Chris Froome shoes here, and yeah, he keeps sending me lots of souvenirs, and and I wear the same size shoe as him, perfectly the same. And one of the things he likes to do is send me his shoes that I can feel the weight of the Tour de France as well, and that's it's an honor.
The respect between mentor and pupil turned champion is obvious.
I think it was in those years that I really developed that love for cycling, and I think that is, I mean, even though Kinja hasn't been part of obviously my training or my structure to get into anything like the Tour de France, he did help plant that seed that really, for me, made me love the bike, and I think that has been there throughout my career, and without that, I think there's no way I'd be able to get out there every day and train 6 hours a day to get ready for an event like the Tour de France.
His mother Jane died from cancer in 2008, 5 weeks before his Tour debut, and never got to see him dominate this sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, I don't think she should have ever imagined I'd be in this kind of position, and obviously I'd love to be able to share these moments with her, but that's life, and yeah, life goes on.
Froome and his wife Michelle celebrated the birth of baby Kellen last year. So how has fatherhood changed the champion?
It's surprisingly, it's given me so much more energy. It's given me so much more motivation. It's yeah, I mean, I just want to be able to make him proud, and for him to look back on these years. Obviously he won't really understand what's going on now, but I'd love him to be able to look back in a few years' time and just be proud of his old man.
Is cycling the kind of sport now, thanks to people like you, that you would be happy to see your son go into if he turns 15, 16 and says, "Dad, I'd quite like to be a professional cyclist"? Is it a good, clean sport now?
I believe so. I believe so. I mean, of course, there are always going to be people who break the rules in every walk of life. But I believe cycling has done so much to get to where it is right now, and certainly, I mean, if he wants to ride a bike, I'd maybe have a few tips for him.
Former pro Fausto Pinarello designs the bikes many top riders use, and says Froome's legacy will be inspiring the next generation.
This guy is amazing. Chris will be for sure one the best testimonial for us, and try to teach how to ride the bike, how to be clear, transparent, especially for the young people.
Team Sky have always been about marginal gains. This year Froome even shaved serious time off a descent with a breathtaking technique known as riding the top tube.
I've been experimenting with positions, and obviously I felt that for me that was the quickest position. I always felt as if I could go the fastest if I sat down on the top tube of the bike and really just tucked in as low as I could. And yeah, I couldn't believe it myself that it paid off on that stage.
There's very little time to rest now after this tour, because thoughts will very quickly turn to Rio and the 2016 Olympics.
A lot of people have pulled out because of the Zika virus.
Yep.
Tell me your thoughts on that.
To be honest, I think a lot has been made of it. Yes, it is a concern, but I think if the right precautions are taken, I think the risks really can be limited there. And I do believe that organisers in Rio really are doing everything to try and neutralise that risk.
This is victory number 3 now for Froome, as he joins an elite group who've won multiple tours. Just how many can he win?
I wouldn't say, I've never put a number on how many tours I am going to win, but I'd certainly like to come here for the next foreseeable future, next 5-6 years, and at least give it my best shot. I mean, to win a third would just be incredible. I mean, it is. A lot of people say, oh, what's the difference between 2 or 3? It's just another number, but it just, each tour, I mean, this tour just feels so special. It feels like it's the first one again. I love this sport. I love doing what I'm doing, and it's just such a thrill for me.
Look at me, driving and it won't stop.
Thanks.
And it feels so good to be alive and on top. My reach is global, my tower secure, my cause is noble, my power is
Team Sky want more of this, and with Chris Froome in the form of his life, who would bet against him? Enda Brady, Sky News, at the Tour de France.